Hey y'all, welcome back to the ranch. I'm Jared Paul, and today we're going to do a little bit of catch up with some of the indoor plants that I have to pay attention to. I've got my Delonix Regias and blue Jacarandas. I nipped the tips on the ones outdoors, and I'll show you them in a little bit. But inside, I think I got to do some pruning, some tip nipping, and maybe even a little defoliation. So Delonix Regia and blue Jacarandas, indoors and outdoors. That's what's coming up on today's episode of Jarhead Bonsai. All right, so before we get to the Blue Jacks and the Delonix Regias, this is my flowering pomegranate, and finally we've got some blooms. They kept just forming into these nice little buds here, and they start to open like that, and we get some rain or wind, or I don't even know, and they just kept falling off like they were blueberries. And so finally the other day we got some nice bloomage, and there's plenty more buds coming out, so it might even get better than this, but it's really nice to see. Buddha gnome is happy. All right, let's check out these Delonix and Blue Jacks. Are looking awesome right now. We're in, hi Carl, we're in the almost middle of August, so kind of end of summer here. But look at my Delonix. This is my oldest bonsai grown from seed. It's getting some nice character in the trunk, and the foliage is really starting to shrink down, even though, you know, the whole leaf itself is still pretty large for a bonsai. This is very small for the tiny little leaflets that are on each leaf. I'll show you indoors one of them that hasn't been pruned ever yet, and probably each leaf is about the size of my thumbnail, so it's quite the difference. So what I did when I say I nipped the tip is you come to the top of the apex of each branch, and right there will be another bud growing out, trying to create another layer of these leaves, and that'll come out and it would go here and come out and go here and just keep getting taller. So rather than pruning it, since it looks so lovely at the peak of the season, a broski taught me about a year ago just about nipping the tip, and that can create some bud back, and at least will stop the height from growing for this time and allow these leaves to just look good with everything in its proper proportion. So over here I have one that grew from seed. This is from the generation of the ones I sent out to broskies like Ian at Back Garden Bonsai, Bonsai J, and Nigel Saunders, and they each have one that popped up at the exact same time. So it should look similar to this, decently thick trunk. So I'd say they're, I don't know, 2, maybe going on 3 years old. So about the width of my pointer finger at the base, and some nice foliage up top. So this one I'm actually keeping much shorter than that one. That's intentional. And then going down the bench here, I have this blue Jacaranda. Now you see the blue jack is starting to get, the vein of the leaves is this bright purplish red, and I just think that is so attractive. It's just really striking. You've got the woody trunk. Let's see if I get better lighting for y'all. I'm on the dark side of the house, so I'm probably not, but maybe you can see it. So got the nice woody trunk, and then your healthy leaves. And once again, I nipped the tips up here, just simply took my fingers and pulled off that new growth, and that stops that apex from getting taller. So looking good. These naturally have the smaller little leaves on what do I call it, leaflet on each leaf anyways. But these are much smaller right now as well. So we actually got some nice down low bud back, and I wouldn't mind, honestly, in the off season maybe pruning that here and letting it start all over. But for now I'm gonna let it be, because for this pot, this size tree would look nice, and build from there. Ooh, I got a nip to tip to nip. So I had left it because, actually I'm going to leave it, but just to show y'all what it is. So you see right there, it's coming out of the top center. What I would do is just grab it with my pointer and thumb and just pull it off, and it does as little damage as possible, not like a hard pruning to a tree. And you get bud back just like this branch itself. So I'm actually gonna leave that so that we could continue to thicken up the trunk down low. That annoying term that everybody ends up using, because what else do you call it but a sacrificial branch? Maybe it's not annoying. I've just heard it so much at this point. I wish I could call it something else. Hey, Millie. All right, so I'm gonna get the trees inside set up so we can take a look and see if we got to prune, nip tips, or defoliate. So stand by. How could I forget my forest of Delonix Regia? These all popped up. There were 11 to start in my avocado planting. It's in a nice big pot, as you see. And in here are, I believe there are 6 or 7 Delonix in here. All babies, probably about that 2-year to 3-year age. They got a hard pruning this past spring, and they're really looking good. This is kind of what I want. I want it to look like, you know, a forest of Delonix, one leading into the other, not too overcrowding, but at the same time, you know, creating a full canopy with multiple trees. And then high up above, I wanted this avocado going over it. So that's actually working out, this triple trunk avocado. All right, let's get inside. All right, coming into baby Stella's nursery. Hey, baby. You say hi, Stella? You wave for me? Stella, you say hello? So, in Stella's nursery here, I had this awesome crawling variegated plant here, and it gets these pops of tiny little white flowers. Really love it. And I must have repurposed some soil from some dormant Delonix seeds, and here we have one. So this one has never been pruned at all, and you see what I was talking about. So it's a little older than Stella, so going on 2 years old, and that's the size of its leaves if you don't prune them. So like I said, about the size of my thumbnail. So that's kind of remarkable how much smaller the other ones are. My oldest one that I showed you first, that thing is going on 5 years old. It's working on its 5th year of growth. So big difference over a couple years. I thought I had a cutting that survived, but it's looking in rough condition now, so we'll see about that one. And then same with over here. These were cuttings from my main one that I just kind of stuck in there. Don't always, I'd say I have 25% success with cuttings from Delonix Regia, so just so you know. Decent woody trunk. I just let it grow, but now it's hitting the ceiling. So if I was going to nip the tip, I would simply just grab this top thing here in the middle and rip that off. That would stop growth up there and hopefully kick off some back budding down below. But this is just way too tall even for this big long pot. So I'm just gonna do one rough cut. I'd say about, it's about 4 feet tall, 3.5 feet tall. I'm gonna cut it down to about 1.5. So we'll go between these two here. And that's probably not the final height I want, but I don't want to take too much off right now. And no, I'm not gonna do a cutting. I'm just gonna toss this because I have enough trees. All right, I'm gonna get the next planting of 3 set up on the turntable, and we'll take a close look to that one. All right, y'all, so here we have blue Jacaranda planting of 3, and these I've noticed they take a lot more time to develop thickness in the trunk because I've just pruned these a couple times a year, where Delonix can be pruned, I would say a dozen times a year easily. They grow back very quickly. respond very well to hard pruning, defoliation, pretty much it all. So unlike the other planting where this variegated little flowering houseplant existed and these popped up, these were actually sitting underneath a hanging one of these. Some seeds fell into it and then these started to grow. And I thought, you know, that's not so bad for a complementary plant in the same pot. But I wanted to crawl out the front and I wanted to take away from the trunk line. So pretty much anything that's grown vertically, I have taken out in the past. So I'll just do that quickly. Anything growing up, extracting from a trunk line or back towards it, they're out of here. So if you have any questions on these trees and how they react, I've pretty much tried everything. Since it was my first tree and it's a faster growing tree, I've had a lot of practice and right and wrong. So I'm not saying I know it all, but I'm saying I've tried a lot of it so you could save yourself some heartache and time, I'm sure, on certain things. So these were growing nicely, looking good. And then I had them set in front of a really high-powered fan to kind of blow across the house. And I'm not sure if I dried out the leaves or what, but it just started to look a little weak. So I figured, you know what, let's give this guy a pruning. Never mind just nipping the tips. So I'm just going to raise the canopy a little bit across the board. Anything pointing down, kind of around the base of the trunk line here, I'm just going to take out. Oh yeah, the leaves are just falling off. The little petals are falling off as I'm pruning here. So they're definitely dry. Sometimes these just run their life cycle and they'll turn yellow and fall off, and I've had a lot of frustrated other growers asking, like, am I doing something wrong? And you know, if you're growing it not in Madagascar or outside, then you're fighting against nature. So it's just is what it is. It's not meant to be grown in Northwest Connecticut like I'm doing it. It's not meant to be grown indoors. It's not meant to be grown half indoors, half outdoors. So you're pretty much making it up as you go along, guys. My broskies and broskas. All right. Just kind of going along, not too much thought process, taking out the lower leaves. And then I'm going to shorten them all to a desirable height, and that'll be it. I like to spend a lot of time looking at my bonsai, and then by the time I go to prune, like, I'm ready to rock and roll. I know I have a game plan, and so I just go smoothly. I don't rush, but I also, you know, don't sit and ponder every single cut. So this is going to be like a defoliation and pruning. Because I didn't like the way any of those lower leaves looked, and I want to bring it down pretty much to its original cut line. See if we can't get it to split. It only came out as one, so I'm bringing it back to its first set of leaves there. Might as well follow suit with the rest. First set, first set. These are relatively new, so I'm just going to leave these two. They did exactly what I want everything else to do. Got a dead branch here. Boom. Take it down. Take it down. And these leaves look healthy, so... Oh, not this one. So, might as well just take them all out. So with the exception of these small ones, I pretty much removed all the branching and leaves I've got, but it's, you know, middle of August, so they'll have plenty of sun coming in. I'm not going to put these outside. These stay inside all year round. That's also an active experiment. Some all year round indoors, some half in, half out. I guess we'll see over time which one responds better. So, boom, boom. Let's see if I get you close up, and then we'll get out of here. Really not much character at all. Might end up coming all the way back to here the next time if I don't get some branching there. But I would like, since it's a longer pot, I would like about a foot up, having 3 trees with canopies kind of coming together over top of some weeping flowers crawling out the pot. I think that would look dope. So this is the rear of the pot here. Everything kind of grew back this way, and I'm training it now to grow back forward. Obviously, I need to try harder because it didn't creep that much forward. They're all kind of back there. So yeah, Delonix Regia and blue Jacaranda. Real fun tree to play around with. At first, it might seem like this is ridiculous for bonsai, but it might surprise you. You might come to like it. Definitely you'll enjoy the fast growth if you're new to bonsai, because you don't just have to sit around for a year watching it grow and watering it without being able to do something. So yeah, so I got another couple videos coming out. One on the chili pepper that I have 2 chili peppers. One I have to prune still, and the other is going to be on the pencil cactus. So we are all set for this video. I hope you and your family are doing well, y'all. Cheers.